Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jonathan here. So, last week I posted a video discussing the stimulus plan that the Congress had just passed and going over some of the key features of this plan. Now, at the end of the video, I did mention how President Trump publicly went out and said that he refuses to sign this bill due to the fact that he felt that the stimulus check amount was too low. In this video, I plan to give you some updates on what has happened in the past week when it comes to the stimulus checks, to keep you guys informed on what's going on. On December 22nd, when President Trump announced his initial rounds of pardons, he followed up that event by posting a video on Twitter that discussed his refusal to sign the omnibus package that included not only the funding for the federal government for the rest of the fiscal year, but also the COVID relief bill as well. The main reason why he refused to sign that bill was due to the fact that he wanted $2,000 stimulus checks for each adult and qualifying dependent. And in my previous video, I went over the details of who qualifies for the stimulus check. And if you're curious to know if you qualify for a stimulus check or not, you can check out my video, talk about the qualifying factors for it in detail. But anyways, Trump wanted the bill to have $2,000 per every adult and for every qualifying dependent. And in a later press release, he did clarify this by saying that he actually wants $2,000 for every adult and $600 for every child. And later that night, after his video was posted, the Speaker of the House, Representative Nancy Pelosi, came out and tweeted, "Republicans repeatedly refused to say what amount the president wanted for direct checks. At last, the president has agreed to $2,000. Democrats are ready to bring this to the floor this week by unanimous consent. Let's do it." And shortly after this, AOC tweeted the following: "Let's do it. Rashid Tlaib and I have already co-wrote the COVID amendment for $2,000 checks, so it's ready to go. Glad to see the president is willing to support our legislation. We can pass 2K checks this week if Senate GOP agrees to stand down." And also in this tweet, she added a picture showing the modifications that her and Rashid Tlaib had drafted up earlier. And these revisions have been made into a formal bill that is now called the Cash Act. December 23rd, the following day, Trump vetoed the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. The main reason why President Trump vetoed this bill is because he wants Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act to be removed from the bill. Basically, what Section 230 does is that it protects social media platforms from liability of the content that is posted on their website. Let's say, for example, somebody goes on Facebook and they post a false claim. Instead of Facebook themselves being responsible for that claim, it'll actually be the person who posted it who will be responsible. This act protects social media platforms from liability. And the main reason why a lot of people are thinking President Trump wants this part removed is because having this section removed out of the Communications Decency Act, it'll actually help President Trump run for re-election again in 2024. So a couple days later, on December 27th, Trump signs the omnibus bill that includes not only funding for the federal government to avert federal government shutdown, but he also signs the COVID relief bill that's included in the omnibus bill as well. And this has a lot of good things in it, like unemployment boost and renters assistance and different things like that were very critical to get passed before we had the possibility of a massive eviction crisis on our hands at the beginning of next year. Even though President Trump did sign this bill, he still pushed and is still currently pushing for $2,000 stimulus check. So the very next day, on December 28th, the House convened to vote on two different measures. First one was the Cash Act. And the Cash Act passed the Senate by 2/3 majority, which is what's considered veto-proof majority. The second piece of business that the House voted on was to overturn President Trump's veto on the NDAA, and that bill passed by over 75%. So the very next day, Mitch McConnell went onto the Senate floor and he refused to schedule a vote for the Cash Act, even though there was many Republicans who had called for this and objected against this action. And then later on that day, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell actually posted his own revision to the Cash Act. And in his revision, he had, instead of having $2,000 checks to both qualifying dependents and adults, it was $2,000 checks to adults, $600 checks to qualifying dependents, a repeal of Section 230 from the Communications Decency Act, and COVID liability protections for businesses as well. And there's very widespread belief that if this bill was to be put on the Senate floor, it'll most likely pass in the Senate, but it will die on the House floor if it was brought up for a vote. And on the very next day, on December 30th, Mitch McConnell put the vote for his version of the Cash Act on the Senate calendar. But on that same day as well, even though there was still a multitude of cries from many different Democratic senators, Mitch McConnell still objected to scheduling the Cash Act for a vote. Moving forward, there's a very high chance that the Cash Act that included $2,000 stimulus checks for not only adults but also dependents as well will most likely not make its way onto the Senate floor. But most likely, Mitch McConnell's version of the Cash Act that he scheduled for a vote will most likely pass in the Senate, but will most likely die in the House. So at this point, $600 stimulus checks are guaranteed. That was a part of the omnibus bill, and it was signed by President Trump. There are some people that are actually receiving their stimulus checks today. Now, the extra $1,400 of stimulus check is still up in the air. And even though I said that the Cash Act will most likely not make it onto the Senate floor, anything is possible. And the consensus right now among a lot of Democrats is that the House has already gone home, and most likely they won't be back until the next session of Congress makes their way to Washington, D.C. At that point, all the pending bills will actually just die immediately, and they'll have to be brought back up again. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my perspective and the way I explain things, I highly encourage you to hit the subscribe button down below so you get and hit the notification bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. Check out the links down below, and also while you're down there, leave a comment if you have any questions or any comments about what's going on in the current state of stimulus checks. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I try to post there every day. And thank you for watching. Until next time.